Hello and welcome! A few years back I took a look at the theme park management game called Thrillville Off the Rails and was very impressed with it. Not just with how it worked, but with its aesthetics, how well the game was playable on devices other than a computer, and just its overall quality. However, at some point during the review, I got a bit distracted with all the included minigames and kind of forgot about the park management side and why it worked so well on consoles. But I feel it's worth taking a look into, so to help me focus, I'm going to be taking a look at the original Thrillville game for the PlayStation 2 and just see why this park sim works so well on a console. Today's video is sponsored by 16-Bit Store. At 16-Bit Store, we design and 3D print a variety of items for your video games and consoles. From our styluses to our display stands, we take pride in our designs for all products that we create and the finished quality of our prints. If you are interested or just want to help out the channel, why not visit the 16-Bit Store today? And if you use offer code 16BitReview on Etsy, you'll get 15% off your order when you buy 2 or more items. Now, according to Wikipedia, Thrillville is a simulation and strategy video game that depicts a theme park management, very similar to Roller Coaster Tycoon. And coming from the developers Frontier, this makes sense, as by 2006 when Thrillville was coming out, Frontier was making Roller Coaster Tycoon games, being the developers behind Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. And you can see some of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3's influence here in Thrillville, though it has been simplified for the consoles. From its roller coaster and ride placements, as well as the game's general aesthetics, the feel is very similar to Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. But where the game differs is how the parks themselves are managed. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 is all about building the biggest and most elaborate parks, where the limit is your imagination, budget, and PC specs. While Thrillville is more about managing its park in its limited space that's provided. I assume that's because of the hardware the games are running on. As a result, managing your park has become the focus of the game, and the simplified menus makes it pretty easy to check on the state of your park and help make it grow. Despite this simplification, these menus are still quite dense, and for the most part, you can actually ignore them during the campaign, as mission objectives are what really determines the progress. Missions don't just teach you how to grow your park, but they also add in fun challenges and scenarios to overcome, like tainted food stalls or tracking down hidden mics throughout the park. It's seriously a clever way to teach potentially new players who've never seen a theme park sim before, while also dropping the difficulty without making the game too easy. You can go through the menus and play missions, or you can just go on your own and have the missions complete on themselves as you're building the best, greatest park that you can. Though, most of the time you will be working on mini-games. Yes, a lot of the mini-games made their debut here, from training park staff to first-person shooting and more. They are as fun as they've ever been, though limited in scope compared to Off the Rails, and they still give you a pleasant break from managing the park. You also can talk to guests with an arguably worse version of the PSP Sims 2 dialogue minigame. You can challenge pretty much anyone in the park that you want. If you don't want to play with yourself or with friends, if you plug in the second controller. There's even arcade games that show up here, and diversity is so nice to see and to play. No! I have to keep myself focused. Thrillville is supposed to be a simulation park game. I need to push past those mini games and just focus on what's supposed to matter here. Theme park management. And here, I think Thrillville's biggest success is the illusion of freedom that it presents. Like Roller Coaster Tycoon, you can place any ride or stall anywhere you want in the park and tailor the park to your liking. You can change the ride colors, make it impossible roller coaster designs, and style your park the way you want it to look. All the while, the game restricts pretty much everything involved with that. I mean, you can place your rides wherever you want, but the scenery is static, so it will disappear. So if you want your park to look a certain way, you have to be cautious of where you place things. Roller coasters can't be too tall, you can't place too many rides, or else you'll hit the power limits. And it's just restrictions upon restrictions, but building within them is quite entertaining, all without breaking the illusion that you're playing a theme park sim on a PlayStation 2. Those restrictions were quite clever for a console game, but after playing the original Thrillville, it's clear that Off the Rails added a lot more content to make the game's experience not just more fulfilling, but a lot less repetitive. You can really feel it in terms of the mini-games. I lost track of the amount of times I had to retrain the cheerleaders. It was to a point where I actually noticed that every zone in the game gave you a different music track. I played Off the Rails for years and I never noticed this, but because there was nothing else to do in Thrillville, it just became obvious. There's also had repeats, a lot of races over the times, and actually, there was one point in the fourth park where I had to replay Sumo Saucer minigame at least twice back to back, and with only 2 players, it is not that much fun, since the chaos of having 4 players going at each other just makes the experience not just faster, but makes it so that once you're at the last stage, you just knock the last guy off. It's just so much fun. Oh no, I did it again! Why do I keep going back to the minigames? It feels that no matter what I do, I can't avoid them. Look at the best stuff, play minigames. To complete missions, here, more minigames. Heck, Off the Rails, pretty much everything from roller coasters to stalls are just minigames. Is Thrillville Off the Rail just a minigame collection with the theme of a park sim? You know what? I'm going to check this. Wait a minute. Nowhere on the back of the cover does Thrillville even claim to be a park sim. In fact, it boasts about its 20 minigames that are included. And the ability to interact with park guests. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking more about it, this probably explains why Thrillville works so well as a console game. Park sims are traditionally very slow-paced games, where most of your time is not spent building, but rather waiting for cash to come in. It's why I feel a very customizable game like Roller Coaster Tycoon were so popular. While you wait for your park to earn enough money to build another big ride, you can just sit there and decorate it to your heart's content and tinker with the numbers. While Thrillville, they did just 2 things to make that cycle a lot faster. First, they dropped the price of the coasters so that you didn't need to wait as long to build your next ride. And the second thing they did was they added the mini games, which are a distraction from the park itself so that you can go and have some fun while you're making more money. As a result, while Thrillville is technically a park sim, I think it would be more appropriate to call this a family party game or a minigame collection with a park sim in the background. And I feel Thrillville was able to achieve this by being both a good enough minigame collection and a passable park sim. But all of this is from the context from when Thrillville was a new game back in 2006. What about today? Well, if I was to go back and play a Thrillville game again, it wouldn't be the original. As nice as it is, Thrillville just doesn't have the variety as its sequel Off the Rails, nor do I feel it has the same charm. Off the Rails not only has more mini-games, and thus more things to do in it, but it also improves upon the original game, and I feel it better captures the era of the 2000s theme park just a little better. I just enjoy how much of a time capsule the Off the Rails game is. But that's not to discredit the original game. It's shockingly well polished, especially for a first go at this style of game on consoles. And the fact that I'm talking about it today rather than its contemporaries, I feel demonstrates just how well it was executed. I feel Thrillville is a game that's worth playing even today, though if given the choice, Off the Rails is seriously the better option. But anyways, thank you ever so much for watching. Hope you have yourself a good day, and as always, take care.